The last section actually we have discussed about so what are the required thing for the data science platform and what are the roles. So we are working the data science projects, right? And we had just a quick look up on with respect to the data science. So as I mentioned earlier, like the data science project is across all domain, all industries basically. So because the recent days each and every organization, it could be manufacturing, it could be consumer goods, or it could be like a life science or healthcare or finance, whatever it is, and they are looking not only for their software or application, so they are looking specifically for their data, so that the data it now plays a very important vital role the recent days. So that's the reason actually it's become what, it's a major role in each and every industries, right? So last class we have discussed about like the transportation, how the Uber they have built up the application and to tracking their system. So where exactly the vehicle it's located there, something like that. So known example, right? So hope you guys are like, even you have come across this experience, like when you're booking the cab or when you're traveling the cab or the cab, so you can find out like where you are located. Then obviously along with when you're traveling, then your map also showing that where you are located and where is the what is that, the traffic, very huge traffic or normal top traffic, something, all the details informations we pull out and we'll showing in through the your small app. Okay, that is actually the transportation. And even we discussed about like healthcare industry perspective. Last yesterday we discussed about like how they are planning to have the healthcare perspective as well. Okay, that is a number two one. The same way we have this e-commerce, and e-commerce, yes, obviously we have analyzed so many things, the recommendation system. For example, like the very first class we had discussed about recommendation system in Flipkart, Amazon, so many places, right? And manufacturing, obviously there are so many things, like in already they had some capturing the data and doing all their what is that overall sales, everything. But by using all those data, they are planning to predict the upcoming sales or upcoming orders, how much market value, everything, so they can use that. So I wanted to go into the detail of each and every line item, so that we need so many things to cover. So just we am jumping into the other one, that's of banking. So banking domain and finance, right? The bottom most of the two things like in the slide. So the banking and the finance, the both are really very very important. And what is that, I would say it's like a very important, it's a very important domain when you talk about what is that the data science applications, because each and every data point, based on that we can have that. See, for example, the customer segmentation. Customer segmentation for finance, which is mainly used to find out, as we discussed earlier, I think you can remember, right, the scatter plot. By using the scatter plot, simple example, not directly you cannot directly connect with what I'm giving examples here. So customer segmentation, for example, some set of people, they're looking for personal loan, some people are looking for a home loan, and some people are looking for like some education or something like that, some group of set of people. So to identify all those analysis, and based on that, so the banking and financial team, what they will plan, they will then they enhance that business. So based on the demand, so they will take the survey, or they'll take the earlier the data point. For example, in specific area, let's say once one the place which is nearby, we have a very great university, right? So the people are looking for some education loan in the specific area, means, so most of the people there, they go for the nearby bank to that university for the banking loan or easy access to get the loan for their higher studies, whatever it is. So so those kind of things actually they need to identify. Yes, we have a population, obviously they have a list of people, and those are like planning to go for their higher education, or else they're going for some other the loan based any other education, means they'll they'll figure out something like how much people they're potentially they're looking for what is that education loan. So all those things, so by using the finance environment, finance domain, so they'll find out the customer segmentation. So they will evaluate that. Okay, the set of people, like the people more than 21, 22 years, they have done with their bachelor degree, and they are planning go for higher degree. Okay, so there might be some survey. So based on that, what they will predict, this set of people, they're planning to go for higher studies, so that we can announce the what is that. So we can announce the specific set of um, uh, finance support for the education loan, and same way to enhance the business loan, same way, and same time for I would say like what is that world trip loan, for example, during the summer vacation or else any festival vacation. So what they will plan, okay, some these set of people, they're planning to go travel around the world, like they're planning for Europe trip, or they're planning for US trip, or they're planning for any other South Asia or Asia trip. So they'll find out that data point, and they will announce based on the customer pulse. They'll announce the finance availability for the each customer. So all those things, they are built using the what is that, by using data science and algorithm basic things. Okay, the same way. So the same way for banking as well. So the fault detection and credit risk modeling. So the credit risk modeling also find out, like for example, if I applied for a credit card, so what they will do, they'll go and check my complete my transaction details, and they'll find out is there any I have did any like I did any earlier I had any other what is that credit cards, and I have paid that the credit details, like credits like back to the bank on time, or else like is there any cheating. So they'll find out all the analysis, and they will find out this specific customer eligible for credit risk or not. For example, they will predict that modeling. Then based on that, they will get ready with the data. And then if I'm applying for that, so they'll find out the my credit card system deducting system will give the detail about just a number called SR no. But that specific SR no will be like the outcome of the individual customers, the detailed analysis of the entire transaction so far what he's made across the so many years. So based on that, they will give the credit risk modeling system. The same way, customer lifetime value is very similar to giving offer to the customer, what kind of benefits they can give. Ultimately, they'll enhance the customer to bring the money to the bank and put that. So those kind of algorithms, those kind of like what is that system build by using data science. So you can ask me the question, sir, actually already we have some set of applications existing in all domain. What are the domain we are displaying over here? It could be healthcare or transportation finance. So what those applications be? Yes, of course, all applications are going to be existing still, it's required, and they will do all the enhancement. And top of that, what are the data they are received from the customer. For example, if I'm going to the bank, I'm creating my account and I started deposits amount and withdrawing some amount. So over the period, I'm doing all the transaction. So they want to do the analysis on my transaction. So based on that, they want to give any value added to my contribution or my savings in bank. So they want to do something on top of that. That's very important, right? So in that perspective, so the banking and finance team, the combinedly work, they'll give a suggestion. You can go for this kind of bank loan, like a personal loan or a vehicle loan, whatever it is. So all those things is pertaining with your the the first step, like the application perspective. So those all these things we are captured, and we'll go ahead on this. Okay, so that's the reason actually we're bringing up the data science application on top of the existing normal application already, which is running on the individual domain. Okay, that's we have to make sure about on this, because see, for example, if you're going for if you're going and depositing some amount in ICICI Bank or HDBC, everything. So what they will do, they will get your money, they'll deposit your account, then they'll give some challan, whatever it is. So that's it, simple. in SBI bank and all, if you go manually, they'll feed the data, then that's it. So you can get um, um, the transaction detail, everything. You take the printout on your account book, everything. But if you look at like it's another private bank, they never use all those what is a transaction detail notebook, bank book they used to say, right? But we don't have. So everything's automated and everything's like online. And nowadays, actually, even they're going to restrict the digital transformation, right? So they're not at all using any money transaction, cash transaction. Everything's on online. So this is on top of that, what are the features we can enhance, what are the features they can provide to the customer. For all those things, they need to analyze the data by using data science application and their modeling. Okay, these are the very high level things. So probably if you're planning to do any project, um, connecting with your electronics and ECE perspective, and collecting the data and doing analysis, yes, very well you can do that. So this is the best classic examples for the normal domain what so far we're existing. And this is second, the another set of application I have put for just for clear understanding. Again, nothing major changes. So very things very similar to that. So let's say here the marketing, churn, upselling, cross-selling, and predicting lifetime value of the customer. And let's say it's a social media, so you can find the sentiment analysis and the digital marketing. And the same way here, the automation space, self-driving cars, and pilotless aircraft. And then the same way for here, the fraud and risk reduction, credit and insurance, claim prediction, healthcare we have discussed, and sales. So offering the discount offer and demand forecasting. So these are like the name itself, like giving the clear indication that what exactly the application will do, right?
Sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So you want to share anything on this specific data science application based on your understanding and knowledge? Probably you may come across so many websites on topics and blogs, everything, right?
Yes, sir. So I think, sir, like in
Yep.
banks and all that, when they are giving you the loan,
Mm-hmm.
um, during that time, they would be thinking, they would be adjusting the how to say that how much income a person is uh, getting each month. Based on them, they will give the related plans with regarding to that plans only to those person. They will not give the lower one plans. They will give only the if the person is getting a high salary, they will give the plans which are means good for him, not the lower plans. So I think
Exactly.
in that case, the data science applications is there means for giving the offers or like that, or for giving the loans to the people. In that
Mm.
case, I think it is useful.
Perfect. 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 Good. So do you have any other idea? Like, so do you have any idea about like sentiment analysis?
No, sir.
Okay. So so far we have discussed about like what is the data science, what are the all those things. Now we want to look at it in what is that where exactly the data science in uh, enterprises architecture. So first of all, guys, like try to understand what is the enterprise architecture. Enterprise architecture means, so if I have one industry, like I have a retail industry, right? So in the retail industry, I might have so many applications in my for my organization. It could be like inventory, it could be like a sales, or it could be like um, uh, marketing, or it could be like my employee details, or it could be my customer details. So there might be so many application which is interconnected, and they want to centralized and holistic view. I want to understand what exactly the overall picture of um, my IT division. So in that case, the people used to say is enterprises architecture, and there might be one person who's sitting on top of that enterprise architecture. The name itself, he is an enterprise architect. So he only the person to orchestrating entire application how it's supposed to run. He may not know the individual piece of work, but very high level he understood what exactly the data flowing around my industry. My industry is my retail industry. Let's say so here we have there are so many legends like in retail industries like Framework, and then we have Matlan, and we have M&S. So many people are there. So each and every people they have used to every organization they have the set of applications. So here this is a holistic view of that. Um, so the overall view of the architecture, right? Just high level, but the architecture perspective, so you can see the different data flow, but it's just easy understandable way. Okay, so the logical path for source to making a decision for the enterprises, because actually each and every movement, as I mentioned earlier, right? So as Amelia said, uh, based on the specific the customer, the income and the saving capacity, so the bank is providing the loan, and they're planning to give any other opportunity to give a credit opportunities, or else like any loan perspective. So they will decide and take a decision and take it forward, because they want to retain the customer. The same way, all the application, look at over here, the data source, the enterprises business application, social media, so sensor, IoT, and the syndicate data, open source platform, cloud platform, big data platform. So these are the all the data. Their application might be mounted on these spaces, and the data is coming out from all those data source. So these are all the small icons, right? Probably like you going forward, you could familiar with all those, even most of the things, now, even now itself. For example, SAP and Salesforce and Twitter, and right, and big data, what we discussed earlier. So the data which is arrived from different sources, so they used to apply for applied data engineering. They have a space and applied data science, and then decision science, and big decision, big business decision. Okay, so based on the data part, they will do all the analysis. Then they'll try to how and where, when they can enhance the business opportunities. Basically all this data nowadays, they playing a very vital role. For example, as I mentioned earlier, if you are crossing some, if you are in the mall, then you are near to the very one of the leading shop, let's say M&S. So if you are very near to the M&S, your mobile is on, and your internet is like already available. So what that will do, the Google will capture that information. Then once you reach the home, or even you move out of that place, automatically it will start asking you what is the experience. What is the experience? It doesn't make sense, like you are not entered into the M&S, but what it say, it recognized you are getting to the M&S, then it's asking for some feedback. Okay, and same way, for example, if you are in McDonald's, or else if you are in KFC, then after purchasing, or after like visiting that place, then you will come out, is there it could be sometimes a major restaurant. After you are visiting that place, probably you might have like a pop-up message saying that give the feedback. So why they're asking, earlier they used to, after finishing your dinner or breakfast or lunch, the waiter used to give that feedback form. So you have to ask to fill up that. Okay, but paper mode. But I'm not sure how many we have filled that correctly, or like in full detail. But when the pop-ups comes on your mobile, automatically we started giving the details. Sometimes some people give that mostly, but okay. So if you're giving all those detail, they'll capture the information, and they'll started doing all the business enhancement. Okay, so that's the reason I said each and every movement of the human being nowadays, if the person is having the mobile, right? So everyone has a mobile nowadays, right? Even if it is a 8 years old kid, or like 80 years old man, they have the mobile. So wherever they go, they'll capture that information. They'll give the recommendation for anything else, anything, right? It could be any eatable item, or it could be like any clothes, or any other things, like they want to make it as a business, basically saying, right? Okay, so this is like a complete holistic view of like where the data science, how the data science driven in our complete enterprise architecture flow. Okay, so I don't want to go into detail here, it's so many things are there, right? So now you guys want to understand data science analogy. So data science analogy is nothing but like comparing with some available examples. Thought of like show that so good funny video. So the guy actually used to comparing the data science along with the cooking, right? So he used to explain like what exactly what it means ingredients and how he's comparing with the data, and same way like so what are the things like the what is that the flavor engineering and the taste and explore and source of file deep learning and so many things are like they explained in very funny way. So just a thought of showing that anyway. We'll jump into that. Then later point we can I can show that. Okay. I don't know whether it's readily available. Okay. See, so here I have the data science analogy to finding the best route. Probably even you come across this analogy, right? So where we can apply the data science, as I mentioned earlier, like the Uber cars, right? So that how internet is working, the very high level, the flow, I would say. So for example, here in a data science analogy, so we have one, two, three, four, five steps. Okay, that's a major thing. So first one is to define the what's the problem, and second thing we need to collect the data collection with respect to this problem, and we need to process the data to attain your to get the solution, and then the next one is exploring and analyzing the data so that we can find out what exactly our objective to achieve that solution, and finally so we can get out the solution here. So, for example, here the person, right? You could see the first picture. It shows like the person is trying to find out the best route to reach out his work. Okay, so there are the major two the way the path A and route A and route B, right? Okay, so he's getting ready to office and same time he want to travel either the route A or route B, but he found a lot of issues when he's traveling route A and route B, right? And he is going to analyze so which route it could be possible based on the timing and day and the other factors. Okay, so what he's doing like collecting the data, right? I have a couple of routes, route A and route B, and then he's observing the surrounding and the collecting the data. So during the data collection, he is collecting the data exactly what is the distance and the week and the time of the week and then humidity and the traffic flow. So when he started collecting the data, there might be n number of factors which influencing that specific analysis. So basically, if you're going to like what is that? Let's say for salt analysis. So probably in your 11th or 12th standards. So definitely you might have like doing the salt analysis. So for doing the salt analysis, what you used to do, basically you used to like finding the colors or anything else, and that by the time it might be pertaining to different n number of more than five or six salt might be like a consolidated things you are viewing that, and then you try to filter one by one and excluding that whichever is not comparable with that specific salt, then you exclude those testing and your direction will go towards what exactly the given salt could be. Okay, that could be sodium nitrate, whatever it is, I forgot the name. So it could be any kind of the salt. So it's the same way, when I started doing the data collection, there might be n number of the data might be arrived here, right? So it could be a distance, because the distance might be for the route A it's going with 14,000 meter, and here the 20,000 kilometer 20,000 kilometers, and the speed, the both route A and route B, this guy is going like 10 kilometers per hour, and the day of the week is took like a Monday. And then because the most of the time is Monday is going to be a peak day for the all the business days, right? The people are back to their work after their weekends, and then the time obviously 9 o'clock. So he started going to office by 9 o'clock. He started from his house, so it's obviously what's is 9 a.m. So he's taking the two routes, route A and route B at the same time, right? And humidity it's going to be 95, so it's a morning time, so humidity is very peak, and then the traffic flow, right? Dense are mild. So there are the two things that they're given the information, right? So now I have all this detail, but I cannot go and analyze the best route with all these details because few things is not required. Okay, that's very very important. When you're going to do the any data science related uh, project, so that the people will give all the data, like yesterday we saw, right? The database administrator, will provide what are the available data to you in your hand, right? And data engineer and data architect will help you guys to streamline, and they will like cut short the unnecessary data points, and they'll give some fruitful things to you guys, right? Even you should, like, if you're going to act as a data scientist, then you have to understand, hey, this right specific data point will help us or not. So all those information you have to think from your perspective. Anyway, you have a team, data architect, they will modeling the data, and data engineers, they will do all your the required data and reasonable data, then you can take it forward. For example, in this analogy, so in the data collection we have immunity, right? And in your data processing, what we are doing, ignoring the unnecessary observation. So why we want to ignore the unnecessary information observations? So let's say humidity is not at all required to predict my flow, right? So that is the key here. So that's right, that's the reason actually they're removing that, the humidity, so that it becomes crunch. For example, if you take any other analysis, sometime there might be hundreds columns are there, right? In real time scenario there may be 100 or 150 columns are there. So you need to take all the column. Hope you guys are know what is a column and row, right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay, that's fine. So if you're going to analyze any data, but if I'm giving n number of columns, let's say 10 column is okay, fine. You can easily identify what are the columns are required or not. But when you going to the data science, the source might be it could be more than one, as we explained earlier, right? It could be like a social media, or it could be data, or it could be like from IoT, whatever it is. There are the data could be a huge, but when you're starting doing analysis, then it's the data sets given by the data engineers. It could be like more than, let's say, 100 columns. By using the 100 columns to predicting the values or doing the analysis, really really challenge. But even it could be before that, coming into your hand 100 column, it could be more than 1000 columns, or it could be a number of data source. But our data architect and the data engineers, they combinedly they given a data sheet. It's just like that in column in your let's say here. Okay, so these things like that your data engineers, and they used to give the data in this specific set of format. So even though sometimes there might be some flaws are there, we can remove all those information. But for this analogy, we are taking forward and we are doing analysis, right? So when I'm doing with this one, humidity is not required, I'm removing this. And then I'm going with the ignoring unnecessary things. I'm taking a distance, speed, day of the week, and day of the time, and traffic flow. And then after doing the data processing, I'm coming to the data exploration and analysis. So here your part is very important. You need to select the decision variable and predicting variable. Yes, actually here the very important thing. We used to say like dependent variable and independent variable. You just keep it in your mind. These two statement across the data science and machine learning program. Even if you go for AI or go for DL, deep learning, whatever it is. So these very very important two things like independent variable and dependent variable, okay, and target variable and futures. So I'll clearly explain later, no problem. But whenever I'm asking you guys, what are the major things like for with respect to do the analysis, dependent variable and independent variable, okay? So you want to predict something, that's going to be dependent variable. Independent variable means what are the available variable, but it required to do the analysis, okay? So for example, if you're going to buy the car, there might be a number of parameters. That could be speed of the car, or it could be like the road tax for the car and the cost of the car. It could be anything. Okay, so to buy the car, then we have to analyze all those parameters, or else you can say it as a features, or you can say it as a like what is that attributes. Everything comes under for the decision making. You are going to buy a car, you want to analyze what there are various parameters. So dependent variable and independent variable, and it could be a target variable and predicting variable. Okay, that's a very very important. So just remember that. So when you move on the classes, probably I will ask you questions so that. Sorry, somebody's raising question. Okay, so here I'm selecting the decision variable, traffic and time and delay, right? So you're taking a two major variable. So even though the distance, speed, day of the week, day of the time, traffic flow, whatever it is, but I'm taking just a time and traffic delay. So here the route 1 hour 20 minutes. Okay, and then route B, I'm taking a 2 hours. Okay, and the same way delay here it is like a 55 minutes, and here also like route B is a 0 minutes, right? So they're doing all the traffic delay analysis over here. Okay, don't confuse much here. Just to try to understand the defining the problem, and then here the data collection, and then the data processing and exploring the data and finding the solution. So end of the day, it's based on the best and fastest route to go to office. Here is route A 2 hours 15 minutes, and route B is a 2 hours. So obviously we can go with the route B, right? So these kind of the just as a example, just you can use those all those analogy to find out the what is that to the best route. This is just on top by available data we are doing that, but all this detail will predict and give the detail from your machine learning algorithm will give the suggestion. You can take the route B, right? And I'm coming to again Uber. So Uber or whatever it is, like your Google Map. So in the Google Map, if you are selecting like your destination, and you have to select where you are starting, right? So if you are giving that information, it will find out and give the very shortest route. It won't give any like options. Basically, I don't know how many of you experience that. Okay, if you're driving, then or else like if you're driving along with someone, then you might have that Google Map. So when you put that the your destination, the source and destination, so automatically the map will calculate all the details and distance and give you the best route to you guys. The logic behind that, it's a very simple analogy, very very high level analogy. This is the analogy behind that. Okay, just try to remember that. For example, if you missed the route, then automatically the map will recalculate your destination and give the exact route again to reach the place, and how fast you can reach, how far from your place, and when you can reach that place. Everything it will like predict perfectly and give the instruction. Probably you can you have that experience. You guys are had experience on that using Google Map, a GPS. Any one of you?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Very good.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Yeah. So the based on that, the begin the logic. This is nothing but what is it? Okay. So life cycle is a general term, right? How it is existing, how it is evolving. All those information we are covering by using what is that in our data science life cycle. This is very important thing. See, if you go like if you go and check in on Google, so you can find so many life cycle. It has like a same set of naming convention and same set of process, but they may have a number of design various things. So I picked up just only the very few and understandable way to explain you guys, right? So the first one, right? First one is like the business understanding, right? And then the data understanding, and then the data preparation and creating the model and evaluating the model and deploying the model. This is a straightforward the life cycle. So business understanding, I think based on earlier experience, people, I think you can understand that what is the business understanding, the business users and the data architect, and even for what is that analytics manager and data scientist. So involved during the business understanding along with the customer, right? And then they want to understand what kind of data they want to use for this analysis, so that they will give the instruction, we need all this data to do your, to resolve your problem or to identify your problem. So they will give the data, so that actually, as we mentioned, the so many team members will jump into in this phase, and there's a data preparation. So the next step is going to be data preparation. This is very very important, guys. See, for example, during your campus interviews, so based on your curriculum only they will use select, and they might have a questions in some kind of software understanding as well. Okay, since I also they've been part of that campus interview panel, so I have a good amount of experience how to evaluate, how to pick up the resource, right? Like the folks like you guys, like it could be like campus interview or off campus interview, whatever it is. So first of all, we'll ask the questions from your subject, right? And then we started asking, you guys are have really know about anything about a computer, right? You are know about anything software. So for example, if any um, campus interview, if you get a chance to attend that, so probably they might ask questions, do you know what recent evolved technology, in a latest IT division means, probably you can throw the coin, data science and machine learning, we are learning all those things. So separate paper we have. So our college has provided the specific the topic, then we gone through almost 30 hours of data science program. So we understood what is data science is doing, all those things. By the time we started explaining the data science life cycle, so really catching things for the interviewer, right? So you can impress them. So that's what I'm telling, like just take it as this specific program as like opportunity perspective, job opportunity perspective. Is like, so okay, you can consider the other subject also as well for a job opportunity, but this one, I'm assuming like definitely 80 percentage of the companies are coming to your college for the campus interviews could be definitely IT, right? So if those guys are like entering you guys, they are looking for your subject experts. On top of that, they're looking for something what you guys are understood out of the recent technology trend, because the demand is very very high. There are so many things are there. Since you guys are like education, like you are guys are in, you're doing in college, I don't want to show those slides because that is, it's showing like job opportunities slides, and what is the salary, etc etc. But I don't want to show all those things over here, and making, what is that, tempting you guys to just come out of from your circle. That's very important. Okay, but just you can go through that, you can see all those things, but try to understand how you can project yourself, how you can project yourself during the interview. The interviewer stuff is suppose asking like, what is data science, do you have any about data science means, you start speaking something like, because we are going to discuss almost 30 hours, right? So we have gone almost 3 to 4 hours so far. So just consume all those 30 or 24 hours into make at least 2 hours as a snapshot from your end. And during the interview, 10 minutes or 5 minutes if you started speaking about data science, I'm sure definitely you get placed, because it's impression. People want to understand like what exactly the young mind they are thinking. Like people like you guys are young mind, like definitely once you jump into the pool, then you can swim and you can come across that. Okay, so that's the reason I'm pulling all those things over here. So the data preparation is very important. We mentioned business understanding and data understanding, what kind of data we want to bring out for this life cycle, and the data preparation. So how can we are going to prepare the data, as I mentioned, like removing all other unnecessary data, and null values, etc etc, so many things, and modeling and predict modeling. So here we are going to apply different types of models, like it could be a supervised learnings or unsupervised learning, or in Supras Learning, there are so many subdivisions are there. So we can go ahead on that. And same way for evaluation. So after applying that modeling, we have to evaluate which model is suit for this specific data analysis, the data, that's your final solution. So after that is predicted, then you are going to deploy the model on the production, right? This is a very high level data science life cycle. And the same way here, the another representation. So how they are doing? So they're taking the data from reality, and data is processed, and then again here they're doing the data cleanup, right? And they're doing the explanatory data analysis. As I mentioned, almost 70 to 80 percentage of your work will eaten by this guy. Okay, and then predicting like model, designing the modeling and algorithm, and then we are going to communicate either the visual reports and final statistical data to the COE or the market. Then based on the outcome, again we can give it to the reality world. Then from that again we can take the data, so you can fine tune the process and stabilize the process. I'm telling you guys, like going forward, all these are ecom and the websites, right? Nowadays this is kind of a recommendation system. Recommendation is nothing but just they're giving recommendations to you. Okay, better you go ahead with that. So the what is that, the mentality will be go and pick up the recommendation system. So going forward, what their plan is, like they give some objects, some they're offering something, you're supposed to take that. That kind of mentality will come to each and every human being, because they such a way they will clean up your mind. They'll sell anything to you. Nowadays actually they're giving option A, option B, option C, option D. But going forward, based on this complete detail analysis, they exactly understood what exactly you want, what exactly you want. Okay, like the mom, right? So at home, right, mom is to prepare the food. Okay, so the guy, for example, the guy actually he needs like um, um, uh, evening snacks like samosa or whatever it is. So he's likes very much. So his mom get ready prepared before he back to home or school back to home, right? So in that condition he prepare everything. So the same way the mom will prepare the food, lunch, breakfast, right, which is very much close to the kid's heart. So the same way, after certain time, every industry will prepare all their products, which is very closer to each and every individual. So there is no options. It's going to be like A to A, B to B. That's it. Just directly they will sell the product to the customer directly, because they'll try to find out their mind reading, and then they started selling all their product instead of giving the options. So those kind of things, like the end of the world, like it's going to be like finally they'll bring out what exactly my customers looking. There is no any other choice, but choice A or choice B. No, it's just a choice A for my customer A, my choice B for customer B, choice C for customer C. That's it. They don't want to display everything on the board. So they know what they're exactly. And the again other classic example, prepare the data engineering features, so many this is nothing but train and tune the model and all those things. This is simple data science life cycle. So based on that, they will stable the system. You can compare this data science life cycle along with your software life cycle. Software life cycle also is very similar to that, and data science is a part of the IT anyway, right? So it's very similar to that, but it's pretty much simple. And for this specific, the data science, mostly they'll take the data from reality. If you go for software development life cycle, means mostly they're taking from the requirement from their customer. Simple. Any doubts here, guys? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. So can we have at least 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes break?
Hello, sir. Shall we break
Can we
for?
have?
Shall we break?
Yeah.
Or
We'll break for at least
10 minutes or?
yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes, please.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you, guys.
thank
Yeah,
you, sir.
I'll pause my video. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Important to understand subject knowledge. I agree with you guys. Definitely, within the 3 to 2 hours, or like if you're meeting, catching up during the weekends to understand this data science is a big challenge. I agree, but you guys like to do all your hands-on and top of your busy schedule with other subjects. So utilize all those things. It will really helpful you guys. Okay, I'm telling on this. Right. And back to your screen. If no doubts in that, so probably I can go to the next slide. So as we discussed in the previous slide, so quick representation of like the one slide story of data science life cycle. So just for a picture representation to understand you guys. So so this is a very simple understanding analogy. So why they are doing that? So each and every model, what we are doing on that, like data preparation and the data modeling and data analysis, and then and we are deploying on that. And here the very important thing: why, when, what. All those things, W format things are we need. And again, here we need to do the data. Just one slide. I don't want to again reiterate this. So quickly, I'm getting into the data science ecosystem and tools. So data science ecosystem and tools. Madam, I think you have started recording, right?
Yes, recording started.
Okay, cool.
Ah.
Okay, so data science ecosystem and tools. So data science mentioned earlier, right? We have big data ecosystem and tools, all those things. The same way for the data science as well. So we have so many tools and what is that? That softwares are required. Okay, so here, so don't confuse yourself. Just I have brought up this one. So just I will highlight what are the important things with respect to the data scientist. So since we are going to use Python, so this guy is very important. Okay, this guy is very important guy. Okay, so this guy. Okay, this guy is very important guy, like the Jupyter notebook. Okay, so the Jupyter notebook actually it's playing a vital role in the most of the data science program. Okay, and or else we can use a data brick as well, right? And then so here we have IPy Python, and on top of that we have the other environment called PyCharm, something like that. But predominantly they're using the Jupyter notebook. So how many of you aware that Jupyter notebook?
Sir, it's like for running Python codes,
Hmm.
uh, some platform including
Okay,
Anaconda.
yeah, excellent. Yeah, it's actually it's like IDE, that is like an integrated development environment. So by using that,
Yes, sir.
okay, so is that so? Is answering Kirtigaini, is it?
Yes, sir.
Cool, very good. Thank you. Thanks, Kirtigaini. Okay, so this is like the Jupyter notebook. Actually, it's like it comes along with like the two version. Like it's going to be like internet version or local version. Okay, so I'll show that environment. So hope you other guys may know all those things. Like what is a Jupyter notebook? What we're using for that. On top of that, in industrial, so we have R Studio. If you are going to use R programming language, we can use the R program, R Studio, or else like say, would do something like that. But if when you're using a Python, better you go with Jupyter. No, nothing, no other any recommendation. And so Databrick mostly it's very similar to the Jupyter notebook. Nothing major difference. But when you're working with Azure environment, so for Azure deployment, so basically people used to have that the Databrick and work on this all that executing all these commands. Okay, so this is nothing but the just very high level. Just one single point of things is Jupyter notebook is enough for at present for you guys. So let's move on. Okay, so okay, so this is Jupyter notebook is a major IDE. Then we'll see the next slide. So forget about all those things. For just for understanding, I brought up all those things. Okay, this is very important. Okay, so now coming to our the Python for data science. So we are in this session actually we are going to discuss about like what are the packages which is relevant to our data science perspective, and I'm going to speak of some basic the Python programming language perspective, and then slowly we'll move into the transition to that statistical model how we are using with Python. Okay, and then how we are going to utilize what is the age for Python and then machine learning perspective. Okay, so let me wipe out my screen. Okay, guys. So guys, is very important. So hereafter, actually, it's going to be like the mutual understanding. We have to drive the show because the so far what I discussed, like it might be like a compute theoretical, theoretical stuff. So the upcoming session is going to be a really core the programming model. So you guys needs to get into the field and make your hands are dirty. Otherwise, there is no point we are spending the huge time and your professor bringing out this session for your benefit. So try to utilize actively. Okay, right. Good. So as we mentioned earlier, like there is a way we need go with Python. So Python, it is like I don't want to go fancy and geography and social things, nothing. Just to start directly. If I want to say, because actually when I started learning my data science things, like I'll start with R programming. Okay, so the R programming is also like the one of the data science machine learning models. One Python, it's really amazing thing. Like the people easily can understand what exactly they want to do, because the programming wise, like it's a straightforward, just one line statement. So if you are known that the programming language very easy, and if you are new to the programming, that is very easy to understand that, because you don't want confusing, because the statement like you're depicting that this is going to do this one. Okay, so if you know the language, programming language, probably you may think in different, and you will think, okay, so why don't we want to use this way, that way, nothing like that. But with respect to the data science point of view, some certain things is enough in the Python application, not Python application, Python programming, a single set of files or multiple files. But when you are applying, when you're getting application, you're using Python, that is totally different. Okay, you try to understand the two main thing. If you are using a Python for data science perspective, the way and approach and execution is typically different from the way you are developing the application point of view. That's very important. So you must clear about that. But if you based on your interest, you can learn more on Python top of your data science for Python, and then sorry, Python for data science. And or else, like if you explore more on that Python, means you can side by develop some application, means you can very well go ahead in that track as well. But with respect to the Python for data science, it's a simple and straightforward, because most of the things is going to be like well defined steps. These are the steps you have to follow, then follow the step, execute the model, close the model. That's it. It's very simple. Okay, don't confuse much. So here, there is, as I mentioned earlier, like there is no doubt the Python is the best suit language for data science. That's very important, because they're very easy understandable. If you go with the C sharp or C programming or Java programming, it's really big challenge. I'm sure you guys are like know already Java, C++, Photon, whatever it is. But when you look at that Python programming, easily you can understand that. I'm sure on that. So the few things why we want to have the Python for data science means, the first thing is an open source language. So nowadays industries actually they are moving towards the open source languages. And then second one, flexible and powerful. So they're telling it's a flexible and powerful. How it is for powerful, how it is flexible. So definitely you come to know when we are going to towards next and upcoming classes, okay, in the sessions. So you definitely understood why it is very powerful, and probably I'll give a nice examples how it is powerful than the other languages. Okay, based on my experience, because when I started doing my the Foxpro in the late 90s, so really like it's like a read write statement, and live loop statement, and then control statement. So many things are there. Okay, so after that I moved into the I learned the C++ and moved into Visual Basic and .NET and so on. So it's everything have some unique what is a comparison and unique difference, right? Unique was common culture is there. So the same way, when I look at it, like I really very much interested and impressed. So I love that Python to do a lot of work, and even that might be like a main reason for myself I should love the Python very much. So for you guys, I'm sure So your young mind, you guys definitely. So there are so many things are there. It's a simple voice syntax and readable and easy to perform the data manipulation analysis. So if you look at the CPU, all these implementation of using C++ is a really challenge. Okay, computation. And guys, actually, the R programming and then Python programming, even for R programming earlier they're used really for scientific purpose, right? How many of you know that MATLAB software? How many of you know that MATLAB software?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know that. What is that?
Yes, sir. Sir,
You know about
for
that?
doing the signal processing things and for image processing, we can use that
Hmm.
software. It's pretty easy to use because that matrix laboratory actually it's full form, and by taking the matrix, it's
Hmm.
very easy to calculate the things
Hmm.
in that. So it's a really useful
Hmm.
software.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. So earlier days, actually, to do all the mathematical, scientific and mathematical related things, you want to implement in any project. So the mostly the R&D, mostly in the R&D, actually, they've started using. Most of the times they use like MATLAB and SAS programming and R programming, and earlier to that, S programming is also there. S programming is nothing but statistical programming. So the S programming consists of all the statistical related formulas and methodologies and applied statistics, all other relevant to the statistical methods. They have built all the libraries and started using in statistical domain. Okay, then evaluation of that S programming is nothing but R programming. In R programming itself, there are so many things. But if you're looking for back to like around 2017, 16, and 15 and all, there was the R programming. It's like well versed word for data science. But after the Python implementing the ecosystem, now you guys are looking at the slide in what is that? The Python ecosystem. Okay, in this Python ecosystem, look at here. This is very, very important. As I mentioned earlier, NumPy. So I'm planning to bring up this few examples and at least a 30 to 40 minutes I will discuss about the Python probably next session. So that you can understand what exactly the Python as a NumPy under the Python. So the same way, scikit-learn. The scikit-learn is nothing but the science kit to learning. It has so many libraries and models and for classes and functions is providing to do your all your data science analysis for algorithm machine learning algorithm implementation. Okay, and same by SciencePy. This is a scientific Python. Actually, now it's like combined with scikit-learn. Then so you can do all the our machine learning algorithms. And same way, scikit images. If you want to develop any images, so you can use this one. So I'm not sure about this. I never use this one. And the Keras. Keras is nothing but actually it's is another version of TensorFlow. TensorFlow, like as my friend Amelia has mentioned, right? That image processing by using what is that MATLAB. So the Python come up with the libraries and package Keras and TensorFlow to analyze the image processing and voice, audio, and video recognition, and then natural language processing perspective. They have started using the Keras. It's a very leading and very advanced model when you are playing with the Python. Okay, and here the environment, as I mentioned earlier, Jupyter. Okay, so the Kritika is mentioned like Jupyter. She is using for like running the application Python. Yes, this is one of the fantastic environment. IDE. People used to call this is IDE. IDE is nothing but integrated development environment. This is a browser based. Guys, this is a browser based. Actually, nowadays, actually, most of the applications are browser based. But I used earlier PyChamp. PyChamp is like just Windows based one. So it's like just like your C Sharp application installing your in your desktop. You can work on that. But Jupyter also same version, but it's like a browser based one. And we have a Jupyter as well. I'll show that what are the IDs are available under the Anaconda. Anaconda. don't panic on that, because the name itself like so since it's like a Python, right? So they started bringing this all the combination in the under one umbrella in Anaconda software. So once you install the Anaconda, so you can use either Spider or Jupyter notebook, or else, and we can have other features as well. But I never using all those things. But I only one, just Jupyter I'm using. And the data visualization perspective, the Matplotlib and Seaborn and Plotoy, all these visualization perspective we are using the environment. And then the data management perspective, so we have Pandas, the other things even SQL, Alchemist and Network Excel. I never used this one. Okay, and Blast as well. I never used. Okay, but even for the training purpose, we don't want to use all those things. But for data management, yes, of course, Pandas is very important. And NumPy, yes, of course, we need that. And then your Socketland is very important. And Matplotlib and Seaborn. These are very, very important ecosystems which is required when you are doing your data science at initial level. That's very important. Okay, so if you're moving to the advanced version, there are so many things are there. Even I'm not aware of all those things, because in the industries every day and they're releasing new model, new libraries, new features. But some standards things are there, so you can use those things. That's different issue, right? So if the PyCo, it's a Python data science for Python for data science ecosystem. This is Pandas. Yes, this is for mostly for data warehousing interaction. And Matplotlib and Seaborn, NumPy obviously, and then scikit-learn. That's it. So all the three things like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The major 5 major things like it's playing around our data science to create a simple model and predict that. That's very, very basic important. Okay. So the upcoming session, we are going to see like what exactly the each and individual, then we slowly move to the program. Any doubts here? Any questions? Guys, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, cool. Right. So then I want to install my Anaconda means like, so what you can do, like just you must have the Anaconda in your laptop, okay, so or desktop, whatever it is. So the next upcoming session, I'm planning to give some hands-on for you guys. So try to do that, and we are planning to bring up some assignment for you guys. Okay, so that's a mandatory things. Like probably your madam will like explain. What is that the score and everything? So she will explain everything for you guys. Don't worry about that. But going forward, you must have Anaconda should install in your laptop. That's very, very important. Make sure that. Okay, so next class when I come to when we connect, then my first question would be whether you guys are installed Anaconda in your laptop or not. If it's already been installed in your laptop, that's well and good. But if not, please try to install. It's straightforward. Install that and get ready for do your hands-on on your own stuff, everything. Okay, right. Let me share my environment. So let me share so that you can just stop sharing and so they have like, there is a knowledge. So probably going forward, like people, you people can jump in and do that. So there is a community. I don't want to go in detail. So coming back to the Jupyter, that's the home. So now I'm going to launch my Jupyter notebook. So let me share my Jupyter notebook, guys. So once you click this one, okay, so like launching notebook. and your progress bar will keep on rolling around here, and then your Internet Explorer will jump and will show the screen. I'll share my screen again. Okay, I'm stopping sharing and sharing the other one. New share. New share is my this one. You guys are able to see?
Yes, sir.
You able to see? Okay, cool. So you'll be able to see my screen, right? So once you get installed the Jupyter Node Anaconda, then when you click on that, the launch your Jupyter notebook, then the system will pop up this window. Make sure that you have this window. So these are already existing the folders will comes along with your installation. Okay, so you guys can create your own um, folder. Okay, so here just very simple. Here it's running in the local host 888.9/free. Okay, so this is very important local host, and as I mentioned earlier, the Jupyter Notebook is nothing but it's a browser based version, and here we can upload the files and can create a new folder, a new Python file, something like that. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new folder for you guys. It's a straightforward, simple, not a big deal. Here the just back, so untitled folder, and I'm going to change this one, Tyagaraja College of Engineering in Madurai. Okay, I'm making like this. Right, cool. So my folder is ready. So where is my folder here? So now the folder is empty. I've created a folder. Then I'm going to create my new file, Python. So Python 3.7, I think we are working. Okay, there's the latest version. And go beyond like back version, because actually if you're planning to implement any new versions, like that won't support. Okay, so make sure you guys are with the Python 3. That's very important. So that's the reason I mentioned, like go and install Anaconda and Miniconda, whatever the things you are want to install, straightforward. Just do that. So once you click this one, new and Python 3, so it started creating a new tab for you guys, so that you can go and create a um, just wait guys, actually here I'm just waiting for response. Okay, better I'll show the other page, so that we can quickly have a view and then we can move on. So this is my okay, and this is my, so probably people already know the Jupyter notebook, so people can understand what available menu. So here we have file menu, edit and view and insert kernel. See guys, actually this is very important thing. Actually when you are running your application, if you are running your application, it started connecting with your the kernel, and don't think too much about this all those things. Okay, this is like is available in C programming as well, but we never think about like we're running all this kernel and all. But whenever it's tracking with something, okay, so if the things are not working properly, so you can not trusted. So if you click on this one, so not trusted, give that. So I don't know, some problem in it, so connected. Okay, so this is a basic the environment, and you can run the program by using a run command button. So this is going to be so that Python, like, so we know what we understood what is a Jupyter notebook, and we have a very basic the functionalities there, like running our application and adding that. So now, as I mentioned here, like the Python and key packages for distributions, complete package distribution. So um, So here we have, I mentioned here pandas and numpy and scikit-learn and MATLAB and SciencePy. So the most of the 25% of percentage every that data science specific application using the pandas library. Without pandas, definitely we cannot do anything on your data science of even a simple file, because if you want to import any CSV file, or if you want to connect with any database, the pandas library is very important. Okay, and numpy, and to do all the manipulations, certainly it's required. Certainly, like I would say, this is the three things are the major key heroes when you're doing with your um, data science applications. And science get learning 70 to 80 percentage of um, what is that, the libraries. It's really helpful to build all your machine learning models. And then for pictorial visualization perspective, so we supposed to import matlab, matplotlib library, and it's going to be almost 20 to 25 percentage of the requirements in your what, in your application. Okay, so hope you guys understood what is a package. That's the reason I put up this diagram. So package is nothing but individual set of files. Okay, so it comes along with the package. So don't think too much what are the files are available inside the pandas and what are the available files are available in numpy. Forget about that. Just you want to make sure you know when to use pandas, when to use numpy, and when to use learn scikit-learn, and then when to use matlab, matplotlib. That's a very important thing. Forget about the number of files. This picture just for your understanding, I have come given here just for understanding perspective. Okay, so what is the package? Package is nothing but a collection of files. Simple. Okay, so forget about, don't get into the pandas package and finding like how many files are there, what are the files are there. That is not our headache. It's everything's available. Just go and take and use that. Okay, just I'm going to show just only the few slides, just two slides, pandas and numpy, and rest of things probably we can connect by next week and go ahead. Is that fine, ma'am? It's already too late for you guys, right? It's going to be 6 o'clock.
Yeah. We'll wind up now and we'll connect next week, Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll wind up now, because actually, if I get into that the in detail of the pandas numpy means like it's completely disconnected. So keep it in mind. Data science lifecycle and what are the key packages for data science implementation. That's very important thing. So probably like I'll planning to create some sort of small assignment for you guys. I'll share it with ma'am. So the ma'am will distribute you guys. So get the answer, and so probably if you have any quiz and questions and clarifications, we'll catch up by next week. Okay. So I think already we exhausted. So I'm sure next week what I will do, I'll clean up my laptop, and internet connection should be fine, I guess. So because of that, I'm not able to showcase a couple of videos today. I'm struggling on that. Anyway, I'll share the link. Okay, guys, any doubts? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, so anybody else? So we have around 60 people, right? So all are fine. Okay, guys, just go through that. So probably I'll share the slides with ma'am. So ma'am will share all those things, and I'm planning to prepare some short notes perspective as well. So I'll share with ma'am. So just utilize that and make up to speed. So upcoming days is going to be a very challenge, because once we jump into the coding, then we cannot go back to the slides. So most of the time you're playing around only with the Jupyter notebook only. Okay.